Hey guys, Frosty Knives here, and as you know, the second Itch trailer has dropped, so let's talk about the second It trailer. And I am really enjoying it. I really enjoyed the first one, and I really enjoyed the second one, even though we're not seeing much more than we saw in the first one. But the second one, from what I've seen, combined with the first, shows promise that it's actually going to follow the book very closely. I like the losers clubs. I like the kids. I'm really invested in the kids now. At this point, these seven children are what I envision the seven children in the book to be. I like the fact that they're keeping Pennywise pretty much under wraps. We see him in the trailers. We don't see him a lot. He's always in the shadows. There's some quick shots. He's only spoken 3 words, so we don't really know what Pennywise sounds like. And I like that they're keeping him as a surprise and under wraps. And we've only seen his clown form, so we haven't seen any of the other bits and pieces of Pennywise. And I like that. I think that should be kept secret, more or less, until the movie comes out. We get to see a little bit more of the kids in the new trailer. We get to see Patrick Hockstetter both as on a missing poster, and we get to see Patrick Hockstetter with Henry's gang in that scene where they've got Ben against the rail over the bridge. And what we're assuming is that is the scene in the book where Henry is carving his initials in Ben's gut. And over there next to him is Patrick Hockstetter. So that gives me a little bit of hope that they're going to actually talk about Patrick and what happens to Patrick, because I think Patrick's story in the book is very interesting. What they did with Patrick in the book, it was very interesting. He wasn't in the original miniseries. So the fact that he's included in this book, in this movie, says they're really trying to keep true to the book. And that's what I like watching these movies. They've changed these trailers. They've changed a few things, and you can tell they've changed a few things. They've updated a few things, and they've deviated a little bit from the book. But for the most part, from what you can see in the trailers, they are staying fairly true to the story in the book. And I like that. I like the fact that I like Ben's monologue in the new trailer about how he's talking about when you're a kid, you know, and the monsters come out and you think you're safe, but then you're not safe. And then when the monsters find out that you're alone, they start picking you off one by one. And that really echoes Bill's call to arms for the losers in the book. There's a big scene in the book where Bill gives a speech, and he basically says to everybody, listen, they killed my brother. It's personal for me. I'm going after Pennywise. I'm going after Pennywise, whether you want to help me or not. And that's Bill's stance. Bill is in it to win it. He is the one who has lost the most personal out of all of the losers, what happened to his brother George. And so Bill is going after Pennywise, whether or not the rest of the gang is going with them. And I think that courage, that strength, that conviction is what eventually bonds the entire group together, and they feel that, they want to help Bill. And so you get to hear a little bit more of his monologues and about his speeches and Bill's natural born leadership in the trailer. And I like that. What I haven't heard yet in the trailers is Bill's stutter. Now, I don't know if they're taking that out of the movie. I don't know if it's just not in the trailers. I don't know if his stutter is going to be mild. If you've read the book, you know that Bill's stutter as a child was severe. Reading his dialogue was kind of hard because he had a very severe stutter as a child. So a couple of questions that I have are they taking the stutter out completely, which I think would be a mistake because that is Bill's central character. That's sort of how he deals with it in the book. Is it going to be a mild stutter? Maybe he just didn't have the stutter. Maybe they recorded lines without a stutter for the trailers, and then maybe he's going to stutter in the movie. I don't know. I mean, they've kept pretty much everything else. Ben's weight. You've got Richie's glasses and his nerdy thing. You've got Eddie with with his asthma. By the way, that creepy man in the trailer, that creepy man with the glasses that looks like he's about to eat some child, that is the pharmacist. That's Dr. Norbert. Dr. Norbert Keene. He's the pharmacist of Derry. He's the one who is who gives Eddie his placebo inhaler. He's the one that his mother goes to and keeps feeding him the fake inhalers. So, and I like that, and they're keeping all of this in the movie, and I like that. I like how every time you see an adult in the trailer, they look like evil, or they're in on it, or they're ignoring something, and that's exactly how Derry was. How the adults just sort of pretended things didn't happen and ignored it, and the kids felt that you get that feeling of everybody is against you as the child, and so I like that. So they are changing a few things. They are changing some of the things that Pennywise changes into. That scene in the trailer where Richie is walking into a room filled with clowns and clown imagery and clown photos and clown paintings, and then he gets to the room and then Pennywise jump scares him. That wasn't in the book, so that is probably one of the new things that they added. It'll be interesting to see. I hope there's not a lot of jump scares. There's a jump scare with Richie when Pennywise jumps at him, and then there's the jump scare with Bill when he sees Georgie, and then Pennywise comes out of the water and then it kind of jump scares him. So I'm hoping that maybe the jump scares are going to be kept to a minimum, but that's a small complaint for what otherwise I think is going to be a movie, a faithful adaptation of one of the greatest books, if not the greatest book that King has ever written. So I am really looking forward to it. You see the kids playing in the Barrens. You have probably what's going to be the apocalyptic rock fight. Eddie, you see Eddie's cast. We know Eddie's going to get his arm broken. They're really going bit by bit, scene by scene. We got the house on Neibolt Street. In the trailers, you get to see how the kids are starting to research Derry and get into a little bit of Derry's history, which I like. I like that they're going into Derry's history. That part where Mike is talking about how he says his father thinks the town is cursed, and then it goes way back, and that it all points to like one thing, and they start like uncovering the history of Derry. I always found that fascinating in the book. Those were some of my favorite parts in the book when they go into Derry's backstory and history, so I'm glad they're including that in the movie. I think this is going to be a tremendous movie, and I gotta say, the trailer has got some of the most jarring and eerie music that I've ever heard. That with the new trailer where it has that sort of discordant horn jangle with Georgie repeating over and over, "You'll float too," and it's got that really fingers on the chalkboard kind of. That's what the music feels like. It feels very discordant, feels very jarring. It feels very unnerving. It makes you squirm in your seat. Very similar to what The Exorcist did. The Exorcist theme, was made that way so that you would feel unnerved. And with the music in the trailer, which I'm assuming is going to follow into the movie, same thing. You've got that discordant, jarring movie soundtrack that fits. And I really, really like it. We'll see how Pennywise does. He's looking a lot more evil and a lot more demonic. Hopefully they keep his comical side in the movie. I think Tim Curry was great, but he was more comical than violent. And I hope with the new Pennywise, they don't go more violent than comical. They need to get that middle ground where he's both vicious and violent, but yet he has that comic streak that everybody knows and loves. And I like how they're keeping Georgie's fate in the trailers kind of a secret. Like, those of us who have read the books knows what happened to Georgie, knows how it happens. But they're not really showing that in the movie and in the trailers. And I think that's going to be like the first shock that people who have never read the book and have never seen the movie, the original miniseries, they're going to walk in and that's the first thing that they're going to probably get shocked with, is the whole Georgie incident. And I think that's going to shock a lot of people if you kind of see what actually happens. And they're keeping that under wraps. So I think this is a great trailer. I think it's going to be a phenomenal movie. And I would encourage everybody to go see it on opening night, because I just think it's going to be worth it to go see it, right off the bat, if not multiple times. I think they're really doing it correctly. I don't think it should ever have been a miniseries. I think it should always have been a motion picture, because you can't do things on TV like you can do on the movies. It's getting its R rating, so it can really get some of the imagery and the viciousness and the violence and the disturbing stuff from the books. We'll finally, hopefully, get to see a lot of that, including Patrick Hockstetter. I just love, I really enjoyed the Patrick Hockstetter parts in the book. So we'll see how that all plays out. And there's a lot that goes into what these kids are going to go through. And so we'll see how far it goes. We'll see how much of it they're actually going to show. So that's my trailer reaction. Not really review, but it's a reaction. I really love it. I can't wait. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great movie. This weekend, The Dark Tower comes out, and I'll probably go see it in the theater. But my hopes are not as high for the Dark Tower movie as they are for the It movie, because I think It is going to be phenomenal. So, guys, there is my trailer reaction, not review, but reaction for the new It trailer, and I cannot wait to see it on the motion picture and hopefully have the fecal matter scared out of me again. I wasn't scared of the first miniseries, not really. So hopefully this time it'll be good. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you at the next review.